days since Haruhi and Mikuru had been absent from school. Kain and the others were still getting on with regular life and trying to come up with ideas for the cultural festival whilst Haruhi was away. Kain had decided to head into school early before lessons started so he could try and help towards thinking of what to do for the festival. Thinking of ideas proved to be quite challenging not having the leader around, but Kain thought, if he didn't then Haruhi would be angry at him. Itsuki was occupied in helping out with his classmates to do another play for the festival and Yuki didn't contribute anything, as she continued to quietly read books. Man, it feels like I'm the only one even trying at this point, Kain thought, as he sat in the clubroom with Yuki. Maybe I shouldn't even bother right now. Haruhi would come up with anything and she's the only one enthusiastic enough. Yuki got off of her chair and put her book away in her bag. Heading off to class, Nagato? There's still 20 minutes left before classes begin. Yuki nodded her head in response. Well, all right then. Catch you later. Yuki took her leave. 10 minutes were left on the clock till Kain had finally given up on thinking of ideas. Screw this. I'll just head off to class now. He grabbed his bag and opened the door. What happened? As he opened it came as a surprise. There was Haruhi, standing outside the clubroom. Haruhi? Hey, are you feeling any now? He asked, feeling somewhat relieved to see her again. Haruhi had a blank, lifeless look on her face, as her lifeless eyes stared towards him. I'm fine. I'm looking for the one called Tsuruya. Where can I find her? She asked him in a monotone voice. Tsuruya. She usually appears around the lockers in the main entrance around this time. You know that. You sure you're feeling okay? I'm fine. I shall locate Tsuruya. I must speak with her about something. Kain found the tone of her voice rather unsettling. Well, okay then. You just sound odd, Bizarre. I guess I'm just tired. I shall locate Tsuruya, Haruhi responded, as she began to walk away from Kain to locate Tsuruya. Okay, I'll see you in class then, Kain called out, as he headed in the opposite direction to go to class. Man, she must really be out of it today. Maybe she should have stayed home a bit more. Meanwhile, back in Mariano's theater, the madman was laughing to himself happily. My power over Haruhi is simply incredible. That boy had no idea that I'm directly speaking through the girl's body. This couldn't be any easier. Behind him, Mikuru was walking over to Mariano dressed in her maid outfit, carrying a plate with a cup of tea on it. She handed the tea to him with robotic-looking movements. Thank you, my puppet. I look forward to drinking this, he said, as he took it from her hands. Now stand over there and dance for me, slave, he commanded her. As Mikuru walked in front of him, she began to dance like a wind-up doll whilst Mariano focused his efforts on Haruhi. He was able to psychically see the world through Haruhi's eyes, as he remained in charge of making whatever he spoke out loud come out of her mouth. It was like a ventriloquist act for him. The mind-controlled Haruhi soon arrived at the main entrance. Other students who were around noticed she was back but didn't say anything to her as they passed by. Then Mariano, through Haruhi's eyes, saw Tsuruya by her locker. Haruhi walked up over to her and stood still close to her. Tsuruya turned around to notice Haruhi. Oh gosh, you made me jump there, Haruhi, and welcome back, she exclaimed, feeling happy to see her. Kain told me that you were absent for a few days. You feel better now? Mariano then took action, as he began to speak through Haruhi. I'm fine. I would like you to come on over to the back of the school. I have something I would like to show you. Tsuruya was a little bit confused by her tone of voice, but she didn't want to mention it in case she might offend her. Sure, okay. Strange place to wanna show me something, but yeah, let's go. Excellent, Haruhi responded as the girls headed out of the school. Once they arrived at the back of the school, Tsuruya was beginning to get curious to what it was Haruhi wanted to show her. Okay then, Harinayan, what's the super special thing you wanna show me? Haruhi then reached out to her school skirt pocket to reveal what was Mariano's music box. She opened it up and showed it in front of Tsuruya as the music began to play. Hey, there, that's pretty interesting. Where did you get the music's powers had now taken effect on Tsuruya. Her eyes went lifeless and her arms dangled downwards, as she could not resist the music. Mariano then began to speak through Haruhi again. This time the words that came out of her mouth sounded like something Mariano himself would say. You, Tsuruya, are now my obedient puppet to control. You shall now follow Haruhi Suzumiya to where I, Mariano, am located. The music came to a stop and Haruhi closed the box, putting it back in her pocket. She began to walk on ahead, as the now mind-controlled Tsuruya followed her. The girls had not reached the town, as they were getting closer to Mariano's hideout. Up ahead, Kain's friends Taniguchi and Kunikida were running as fast as they could. They were late for school and were arguing at each other. I should have just left you behind, you jerk. Now we're both gonna get punished. Oversleeping is not cool, Kunikida said. You didn't have to wait there for me, you know, Taniguchi replied, trying to catch his breath. You promised me you'd be up early to make plans for the cultural festival before class. Bet you were watching movies all night again. I did not. I went to bed at 3 a.m. Taniguchi replied, realizing what he said wasn't helping the situation. Kunikida sighed, as they both continued to run. Just then they passed by Haruhi and Tsuruya, who were still walking towards the hideout. The boys dashed by so fast that they didn't notice at first who they were. Kunikida then stopped, as he just realized who they were. Hey, stop a sec. It's Suzumiya and Tsuruya over there, he said, as Taniguchi stopped to wait. What he said, as he looked back to notice them. Suzumiya hasn't been in school the past few days. What's she doing over there dressed in her school clothes with Tsuruya walking away from the path to school? I dunno. Hey, come on, you're gonna make us late, Taniguchi said, not really concerned with Haruhi. He ran on ahead, as Kunikida soon followed. He continued to wonder why the girls were walking away from school. The girls had finally arrived at Mariano's theater. The cloaked madman walked on over to the girls. Congratulations, Haruhi, you've been an excellent puppet indeed. Go on over to the table over there and take the costume on there to get ready for the show. Mikuru is already dressed and strung up on stage having a dance to herself, he instructed Haruhi, as she did what her master commanded. Mikuru was dressed up in a French-style dress colored red with puffy sleeves. She had long black arm gloves on her arms and wore black leather ankle boots on her feet. Her marionette harness was set on a topilot, which was making her do a stiff-looking can dance. Mariano then looked on over at the lifeless Tsuruya standing still. Welcome, Tsuruya, my newest puppet for the collection. We have been expecting you here for a while now. It is wonderful to welcome you into the family. He took Tsuruya's hand, as they walked on over to the stage to watch Mikuru. Here we have the greatest puppet show of all time. As you are the newest one of my puppets, you get to perform on stage with your fellow marionettes. It shall be wonderful later on. Mariano was at Haruhi and Mikiru's controls, making them do a can-can dance. Tsuruya was sat in a chair with restraints locking her hands and ankles in front of the stage made to watch the girls dance. Tsuruya stared towards the girls lifelessly, never once blinking or moving at all. Mariano brought the dance to a close, as he walked over to Tsuruya. Bravo, that was a wonderful dance, my puppets. Next up will be Mikiru and Tsuruya. He took off Haruhi and Mikiru's string straps and commanded Haruhi to change into more casual clothes, whilst he told Mikiru to change into the outfit he handed over to her. As the girls walked to the changing room, he looked at Tsuruya. You're up next, my newest puppet. Go and put this outfit on and come back to the stage. When you are ready, he handed some clothes to Tsuruya. As she walked to the changing room, soon the next part of the show was underway. Haruhi was strapped down to the chair with restraints whilst Mariano controlled Tsuruya and Mikiru. Tsuruya and Mikiru were dressed up as cheerleaders with pom-poms strapped to their hands. Mariano made them shake their arms and raise their legs up and down in a rhythm. Occasionally he would make Tsuruya bash Mikiru on the head with a pom-pom. Tsuruya, you fit in wonderfully as one of my puppets. The next few acts are going to be fantastic, he called out whilst manipulating the girls. Meanwhile, back at North High, the first lesson was already over and Inigachi and Kunikata had only just arrived. They were told off by the teacher but were too exhausted to care. Kain had grown seriously concerned about why Haruhi never came to class after seeing her. He wanted to go and find her until Kunikata came up to him. Kain, you know anything about why Suzumiya and Tsuruya were in town not long ago walking away from the school path? Wait, what? I didn't know about this. I know Haruhi said she needed to find her, but why would they be in town? Something's really fishy here. Kain immediately headed out of the classroom and left the school. This is seriously beginning to get weird. I'll just look for Haruhi myself. Kain rushed as fast as he could down the hill to go to town.